Hey everyone, Shane here from freetectorials.com. I'm here today doing an answer video for you. In the comments area of one of our videos, we had a user, Ashwin Pandy, ask a question about variable incrementers. And essentially the question is that he saw an example in a book that he bought when he was trying to teach himself Java, and he came across something where we have a variable with two plus symbols before it. Now, in our tutorials so far, we've only ever used to increase a variable by 1, we've only ever used the pluses after the variable. For example, we use I++ a lot in our loops. Now, there is in Java and other languages a kind of a different way of doing this where you can do pluses in front of the variable, and they do two separate things. Now, the only place we've really used it so far is in our loops. In loops, whether the pluses are before the variable or after, they behave exactly the same way. But outside of loops, they do have a little bit different behavior, so I'm going to try to explain what that difference is today. Alright, so to start with, I've got just two comments here to kind of explain this. So the first example here, we have A++. Now what this does, this returns, when you do A++, it returns the original value of A, or whatever variable you're using, and then increases it by 1. So in our example here, we have A is equal to 5. So if we were to do this, it would actually, if we set it equal to a variable, for example, it would actually return 5 to the variable, and then it would increase by 1. And you can kind of see that if you read this from left to right, you can kind of see, okay, we got variable and then the pluses. So it's going to return this value and then do this piece and increase by 1. Now the difference is whenever we do plus A, it kind of works the opposite way. It goes ahead and increases the value of A and then returns the new value. So just to reiterate, this one right here, when the pluses are after, it returns the original value of the variable and then increases by 1, and when the plus is before, it increases it by 1 and then returns the new value. So let me go ahead and try to give you examples so you can see what this looks like. So I'm just going to create a new variable, let's say new value, and we're going to just take our variable A and we're going to do A++, and then we're just going to do an output, and let's see what the value of A is after this runs. Okay, let's go ahead and run this and see what we get. Okay, we got 6. Now the reason for that is because what we've asked it to do here is we've asked it to increase the variable A by 1, which it did. We can see A is 6. But we've also asked it to go ahead and do that and actually assign the value to this new value here. So let's see what happens when we print out the new value variable. Oops, looks like I got an error here. Oh, spelled it wrong. There we go. Try that again. Alright, so we've got the two printouts here. We've got the value of A, which is 6, because it went ahead and increased, and we've got the value of the new value variable, which is 5. Well, it's kind of interesting how the value of A is 6, but when we assign it to a variable, it stays at 5. And that's because I was talking about right here. So what happens in this instance here, in this line of code, is it takes the value of A and it returns the value of A. So basically assigns the value of A to this new value variable, and then it increases by 1. So the new value variable actually gets set to 5, which is the original value. So let's go ahead and do change this around a little bit, and let's see what this looks like when we do plus A. Print out here. We can see both values are the same, because what happens here is before it sets the value to this variable, it increases the number. So we can see right here is increases it by 1 and then returns the value, the new value to this variable. So again, the opposite is with this scenario here with the pluses after, it returns the original value and then increases the variable, and with this one, it increases the variable and then returns the new value. So I hope that makes sense kind of how that works there. Now Ashwin did post a kind of a equation that he had in his book, and so let me go ahead and write that out here, and let's see if we can solve that equation. See if I can remember it. I believe it was A plus equals a plus plus minus plus plus b plus a. Alright, so that's a lot of variables, a lot of pluses in there, and that looks kind of confusing, but we'll work through it step by step and see if we can't figure this out. So the first thing I want to do, since we're just trying to kind of figure this out, I want to simplify this a little bit. And I know that for some of you kind of just getting started, the plus equals could still be a little bit confusing. Now we know that the plus equals just means, hey, take the original variable a, and then I want you to set it equal to a plus something. Okay, so we're just going to write this out. So we're just going to say a equals a plus all of this stuff. So that makes a little more sense here. And so we know that a is equal to 5 and b is equal to 9. So let's go ahead and see if we can solve this equation. Now, based on what Ashwin showed me in the picture, the answer is 6. So let's see what we can do to get that answer. So we're just going to go down and we're going to start simplifying this a little bit. So we'll say a equals, we know a is equal to 5, so we'll just replace 5 here, plus. Now we've got a plus plus, so we know that a plus plus returns the original value, so it actually is not going to change during this piece of code here, so it's going to retain its original value of 5. So we'll just replace the a plus plus with 5. And then we've got plus plus b, so we know when it's plus plus and then the variable increases by 1 and returns the new value. So we know that's just going to increase by 1 and return the new value, so it's 9 right now, and it's going to add 1, so that would be 10. And we're just going to add the number on the end. Now this piece right here may trip some of you up because it's real easy to go ahead and say, oh, well, a is 5, so let's add 5. But actually, a's value did increase. Now it returned to the main variable, the original value, but after it returned that value, it did increase by 1. So as a back here is now actually 6. And so if we do our math properly here, we should get, let's see, that's 10 minus 10 plus 6, which 10 minus 10 is 0, plus 6 is 6. So a equals 6. There we go. We got the right answer. So just to iterate one more time here, we're just taking the value of a and we're setting a new value for it. So we've got 5 plus a plus plus, which we know it returns the original value to a, and then it goes ahead and increments. So it starts off at 5, but after we get to this point right here, a is now 6. So it's basically 5 plus 5 we got here, minus, we know plus, when the pluses are in front, it goes ahead and increments it right away. So this actually goes from 9 to 10, because b was originally 9, now it's 10. So we know we got 5 plus 5 minus 10. And then since once it got to this point, it increased the value of a by 1, we know a is now 6, and that's why we've got the 6 here. So 5 plus 5 is 10, minus 10 is 0, plus 6 is 6. And that's how we get the answer there. So I hope this makes sense to you. Whenever you're using these incrementer variables, just pay attention. I think, you know, if you wanted to copy this down and keep it somewhere until you kind of get the hang of that, I think I caught this on another website somewhere that explained it really well. I think this is a nice, easy way to kind of see quickly the differences based on where those pluses are, whether before the variable or after, what each of those things does. So I hope this helped you guys out. If you like, make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys next time.